So you start out as a 19-year-old, right? And you have this website that's just like going through the roof. Ron was talking earlier about how very early on the graphs just were going up very steeply. And you had to learn how to create this organization. You know, you had to learn how to be a manager. That's the next phase after you raise money and you have something that's growing. How did you learn how to manage people?
Well, through a lot of mistakes. I mean, I don't think anyone is like naturally good at hiring out of the box, right? It's you have to learn. In each role, we probably went through multiple iterations before landing on a balance of a person that made sense. And the problem is made even harder by the fact that you don't need the same thing at each stage, right? So it's a moving target as well. But eventually,
it's not just hiring, though. You have to somehow lead a group of people and get them all to work together, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Yeah,
That's what you do now, right? You don't program much, probably, right? You spend all your time managing people.
Yeah, well, only for fun.
Now you're a management expert.
No, absolutely not.
You must be, right?
Try telling that to my team.
But how did you learn it? Was there anyone who taught you or any books?
Well, you just have to throw yourself in, right? So you have to not
really
be that
just
afraid
trial
to make
and error.
mistakes. So I have, I've developed a few heuristics over time that I think are simple enough that the organization can internalize. So in terms of hiring, everyone says hire good people, right? No one wants to hire like a reasonable person. You want to hire like a really good person. But then the question is, what's the right heuristic for determining if someone's really good? So over time, what I figured out was that the only actual way to let someone analyze whether someone was really good was if they would work for that person. So I don't think that needs to recurse too many levels down in the organization, but I basically think that that's a really good heuristic, right? And I believe that. I mean, if you look at my management team today, I mean, if we were in an alternate universe and I hadn't started the company, it would be an honor to work for any of these people. And I think if you build a company that has kind of those values, rather than just saying, oh, I want to hire the best person I can find or whatever, if you hold yourself to that standard, then I think you'll build a pretty strong company. There are other things around management that you just kind of have to throw yourself into in different ways as well. I used to be really terrified of public speaking, to the point where when I did all hands, which at the time were like 10 or 15 people, I had to sit down because I was so afraid. And at the time, a lot of people, which is ironic because I'm still sitting, but not because I'm afraid, just because it's more comfortable. And so what I did was I threw myself into some of this stuff, and a bunch of schools invited me to come speak, and what I did was I accepted some of those invitations, even though I had no real goal of doing that except for desensitizing myself, and I went up to give a speech without having prepared anything. And if you do that a few times, you stop being afraid really quickly. And because, what's the worst thing that can happen, I think a survey says that more Americans are afraid of public speaking than death. And just throw yourself in. You get over this stuff.
I remember the first talk you ever gave at startup school, and I think it was one of these, the way you described, that you went with no preparation, right?
And actually,
I can tell you
but thank you.
What's the worst thing that can happen? You can say something off the cuff that gets taken by the press like a football and thrown around and gets you in lots of trouble.
That's fine. I actually did prepare for that one. I don't have that excuse. But the fact that
it was really good.
All that this practice did was desensitize me. It didn't actually make me good at public speaking, as this is proof of.